Good morning, my friends. Voices from the street are what Suno users are really saying about watermarking and download restrictions and the road ahead. Right off the bat, let me show you what the sentiment analysis reveals as I scour the web on Reddit, on Facebook, on Instagram, all over on the boards. This is what people are saying. 60% of people are negative about this. 6 in 10 creators feel anxious or negative. These are notes for Suno to take away and go do something about it. Now, one of the problems with Suno is when they make these kinds of announcements on the blog, they do not follow up with a face-to-face session. They need to, because people are tripping right now. 1 in 5 are compliant, but are watching closely, and 15% have already headed for the exit. Only 5% actively support the changes. Now you got to understand, this is the Suno AI community. This is not a group of people that are against Suno. So Suno, you need to wake up and you need to do some community management. The community has split into 3 clear groups. We have user backlash, betrayal, fear of witch hunts. We have industry and legal view, strategic self-preservation, and we have practical creators, indifference, and workarounds. For those who are in the user backlash camp, they say paying subscribers should not be branded with additional AI baggage on tracks they legally own. This was not part of the deal when they signed up. They did not sign up for watermarks. So they are saying that Suno is deviating from the initial agreement. There's a fear that Tidal and Deezer and Spotify will auto flag or shadow ban the watermarked music, regardless of human effort added. There's anxiety over bad actors building public lists to out AI-assisted artists, a digital witch hunt, and there's a loss narrative. An invisible permanent tag hands identification power to third-party platforms. That is taking power away from the creator who could voluntarily declare that they used AI, and it's giving it forcefully to these third parties. As far as the industry and legal view, people see this as what happened in Germany has given birth to a more compliant Suno. But I want to counter that and say this has got to have been in the works for a while. This is not a knee-jerk reaction to the Gamer case in Germany. Tech analysts view the move as Suno cleaning up. The music industry broadly welcomes this as a weapon against streaming fraud and royalty theft by bots. Observers note the timing, reactive, not proactive, which undermines the claims of principled transparency. Thirdly, the practical creators, tech-savvy producers note that watermarks are not foolproof. Waveform editing and DAW blending can bypass them. Some users are already discussing stripping stems or processing audio to remove the fingerprint, and a subset who openly disclose AI usage see the watermark as a non-issue. The pragmatic view: adapt the workflow, not the platform. Suno is one among many. Can Suno control abuse without choking creativity? That is the big question. Creators' concerns are that watermarks may flag hybrid tracks, even after heavy editing or adding live instruments. Download limits erode value for paid subscribers. The regular user is undefined. Nobody knows where the restriction begins. And there's actually a section in Suno that someone reveals has restrictions as a category. STEM export restrictions break DAW-based production workflows. That has been something mentioned very recently in one of my videos. There's a fear of automated platform rejection on Spotify, Deezer, Tidal, and the like, and policy fatigue. Each announcement lands heavier than the last, and people are getting tired. Now, Suno's rationale is the lawsuits that are looming, the gamer ruling, training data breach, which made this action unavoidable, mass AI spam, fingerprinting, protecting original outputs from being plagiarized on platform, mass distribution limits, which differ from individual creator download bans, and transparency tools which give creators visibility when content is restricted. Sustainable ecosystem requires music industry trust and legal legitimacy. So when you look at the creator concerns and you look at Suno's rationale, I'm curious to know how you feel. But who is a regular user? Think about it like this. A casual user, maybe 5 songs per month. The hobbyist, maybe 50 songs a month. The songwriter, they'll be exporting stems for further use. Producer and DAW workflow could also use Suno for their own purposes. And we have professionals who are releasing albums. On that spectrum, it's hard to detect where the regular user ends and the restrictions begins. And nobody has really examined that. So we have the hybrid creator problem, the user like me who records real instruments and then is slapped with watermarks. They're not happy about that. Then we have the spam versus art problem. Measures designed to stop 5,000 zero-effort tracks are appropriate, but applying those same measures to the producer who spent 3 days on one song is a serious category error. And then we have the value erosion problem. Subscribers chose Suno based on what the platform offered at purchase. Incremental restrictions feel like retroactive bait and switch. So there's a huge trust problem. We understand Suno is walking on a tightrope, a very difficult tightrope. There are industry pressures, but there's also creator needs, right? We understand the Sony and the UMG suits, gamer, training breaches, streaming fraud, Spotify AI deception and deepfake policies being active, and these are being aggressive on fully AI generated content. But we also have the creators. The creators have needs. They want full downloads, unrestricted, STEM export access preserved, a clear reason given when content is restricted, hybrid workflow support, and a value maintained for paid subscribers, and also policy stability. My friends, we have 4 paths forward, and I'm curious to know, what is your path forward? You can either pause or exit. You can stay and watch carefully for a couple of months before you do anything. You can diversify your stack. Use Suno for ideation only, not final output. You can take what you get from Suno and you can develop it outside of Suno. And finally, just go traditional. Get your DAW, get your loops, get as many external aids as you can to support your traditional music creation and go that route. I have decided I will be upping the ante on what I do solo with an instrument, even if it's a handpan, as I have released handpan music in the past. It's all about releasing what you're trying to express. So I am going to be watching. I am not going to exit hastily. I am also diversifying my stack. And I'm doubling down on what I have been doing traditionally. So I'm curious to know, what is your next step? Where do you stand? Are you in the 60% negative, 20% pragmatic, 15% cynical, or 5% supportive? Whatever the case, I wish you all the best in your creation with Suno. Let's go. Let's conquer and let's dominate as we always do, because we are AI creatives. And even if you're not an AI creative, you have creative ability. Let's go.